Jessica's life at Miami Beach changed in 30 seconds, escaping a shark attack by climbing onto red buoys. But the real danger was just beginning. Welcome to the Human Stories. Before we dive into this incredible survival story, tell us in the comments what city you're watching from. And if you believe these real-life survival stories need to be told, hit that subscribe button, because life sometimes tests us in the most unexpected moments. July the 25th, 2024, Thursday morning. Miami Beach's famous South Beach area was vibrant as always. The sun was already heating the beach with Florida heat at 9 a.m. Turquoise ocean waves were hitting the white sand. Jessica Williams, 32 years old, her blonde hair shining like gold in the sun. Her blue eyes reflected the color of the ocean. Wearing her pink bikini, she was lying on a beach chair, reapplying sunscreen. She had come to Miami for a business trip, and after marketing company meetings, she had gifted herself this vacation day. Today is going to be a perfect day, Jessica thought, checking the weather on her phone. 89 degrees Fahrenheit, light wind, calm sea. She posted a beach photo on her Instagram story, Miami Paradise. At 10:30 a.m., she stood up. Her body glistened with bronze sunscreen. Her athletic build was the result of years of yoga and swimming training. She lived in New York, but was experienced in ocean swimming. I should swim a bit, get into this beautiful water, she thought. She left her white towel on the beach chair, placed her phone next to the sunscreen. In her pink bikini, she walked toward the ocean, the warm sand under her feet, then the cool water. In her first steps, the water came up to her ankles, then to her knees. Jessica slowly moved forward, letting her body adjust to the water. This area of Miami Beach was considered safe for tourists. There were lifeguards, regular patrols. When she entered waist-deep water, she stopped. She looked around. There were a few other swimmers nearby. A couple, an elderly man, a young girl, a normal beach day. Perfect, she said aloud and let herself into the water. Jessica started swimming with powerful strokes. The water was crystal clear. She could see the white sand below. Tropical fish occasionally passed by. Florida's sun was warming her back. She had moved about 150 meters from shore. Here, the water depth was about 15 feet. Jessica floated on her back and breathed. The sky was deep blue, not a single cloud. Suddenly, something caught her attention. She dove underwater, opened her eyes. Below, on the sand surface, a large shadow was moving. Very large, very fast. Jessica surfaced, held her breath. Dolphins, she thought, must be dolphins. But her heart had started beating rapidly. That shadow was too big. She dove again. This time she looked more carefully, and she saw it. 8 feet long, gray-colored, with a triangular dorsal fin. A large shark, bull shark, the most dangerous species in Miami's waters. Jessica's blood went cold. The shark hadn't noticed her yet. It was gliding slowly below. But it was very close, very big. Stay calm, Jessica thought. Don't panic. Slowly move away. Very slowly, very quietly, she started backstroke swimming. She was trying to get away from the shark. Her heart was beating so fast she felt like her chest would explode. She had left it 50 meters behind. Maybe the shark had gone. Maybe the danger had passed. She dove again to check. The shark was still there, and this time it was looking at Jessica. Everything happened in seconds. The shark suddenly changed direction. It started rising rapidly toward Jessica. It was cutting through the water with powerful tail strokes. Jessica tried to scream, but her mouth filled with water. She went into panic mode. She started swimming with all her strength to get away from the shark. But the shark was too fast. Jessica swam freestyle with all her might without looking back. Her lungs were burning, her arms were aching, but she couldn't stop. Her life was in danger. The sound of the shark cutting through water was coming from behind. It was getting very close. At that moment, Jessica remembered something. The red buoys at Miami Beach. Safety buoys should be somewhere nearby. She lifted her head, looked around, and she saw it. About 30 meters ahead, a red safety buoy was floating on the water surface, a metal structure with warning signs on it. Jessica started swimming toward it with her last strength. The shark was now very close. Jessica could feel the water movement behind her foot. 20 meters, 15 meters, 10 meters. Jessica reached out, grabbed the metal edge of the red buoy, and right at that moment, the shark attacked. Jessica pulled herself up, climbed onto the buoy. The shark's jaws passed 12 inches behind her foot. Jessica had climbed onto the buoy. She was safe, but breathless, her heart beating like it would burst. Jessica was sitting on top of the red buoy, looking around. The buoy was about 6 feet in diameter, a metal platform. It had navigation equipment and warning signs on it. Danger, stay away. But now the danger wasn't in the water. It was being on the buoy. The shark hadn't left. It was still circling the buoy, slowly, patiently, waiting. "My God," Jessica whispered. "How is this happening?" She thought about getting her phone, but the phone was left on the beach chair. No one knew she was stranded here. She looked at the shore. It was very far, at least 200 meters, and there was a shark in between. The sun was beating down from above. It was past 11 o'clock. Jessica's body was slippery from sunscreen, but the sun was starting to burn her. "Someone should see me," she thought. "Lifeguards, Coast Guard, someone should notice." But the beach was very lively. There were hundreds of people. No one was paying attention to the distant buoy. Jessica stood up, started waving her hands. "Help!" she shouted. "Help!" Her voice was lost in the wind. It was too far away. The shark was still below. Sometimes it would surface and look at Jessica, as if it was waiting. But Jessica didn't know yet that the real struggle was just beginning, because sharks at Miami Beach don't hunt alone. And surviving on a metal platform under the sun, without fresh water, could be much harder than escaping from a shark. Now, I want to ask you, have you ever been in such survival situations? Have you experienced dangerous moments at sea, in the mountains, or elsewhere? How do you cope with such extreme situations? Share your experiences in the comments. It was 12:30 p.m. Jessica had spent an hour on the buoy. The sun was overhead and beating down mercilessly. Her pink bikini was slippery from sunscreen, but the cream seemed to be wearing off. The shark hadn't left. In fact, she had noticed there were two. One large bull shark, the other smaller but faster. Both were circling the buoy, waiting for Jessica. Why won't they leave? Jessica thought. Normally sharks don't hunt humans. But then she understood. These buoys were at the border of a fish farm. Sharks came here to look for food, and Jessica was stranded in their territory. She was starting to feel thirsty. Her mouth was dry. She was sweating under the sun, but this was bad. She was losing body water. She looked around again. The shore was still very far, but she couldn't wait. The sun would kill her. I need to make a plan, she thought. She examined the buoy. The metal platform was strong. There was some equipment on it, solar panel, navigation lights, and an emergency flare gun. This might work, Jessica thought. The emergency box was locked, but the metal had gotten very hot under the sun. Jessica took off her bikini top, protected her hands, tried to open the box. 2 p.m. Jessica had been on the buoy for 3 hours. Sunburn was starting to form. Her shoulders were red, her back was aching. But she had opened the emergency box. Inside was a flare gun, water purification tablets, a small first aid kit, and an emergency whistle. The whistle might work, she thought. She started blowing it. It made a high-pitched sound. Maybe someone could hear it. At the same time, she needed to find a solution to protect herself from the sun. She tried to make a small shade with aluminum foil from the emergency kit. The sharks were still below, but Jessica could observe them better. She was trying to learn their movement patterns. Maybe she could find an escape opportunity. At 3 p.m., she noticed something. The sharks would move away from the buoy at certain times, as if they were patrolling, then returning. If I catch the right timing, she thought. 4:30 p.m. Jessica had been on the buoy for 6 hours. She was starting to show signs of dehydration. Her head was spinning. She felt nauseous. But she caught an opportunity. The sharks moved away from the buoy, went to deeper waters. Now, Jessica thought. She jumped into the water and started swimming toward shore with all her strength. She swam 50 meters, 70 meters, 100 meters. She got very tired. After 6 hours under the sun, she had no energy left, and the sharks returned. When Jessica saw them, she panicked. She swam back toward the nearest buoy. Fortunately, there was another red buoy. She climbed onto the second buoy, stayed breathless. This won't work, she thought. I need to find another way. 6 p.m. The sun was starting to lower, but the weather was still very hot. Jessica was on the second buoy and her condition was getting worse. She remembered the flare gun. It was time to use this. She took out the gun, aimed it at the sky, pulled the trigger. A red signal flare exploded in the sky. Very bright, very visible. Jessica repeated this 3 times. She hoped someone would see it. 30 minutes later, she heard a sound from the distance. Helicopter sound. God, someone saw it, she thought. The U.S. Coast Guard helicopter approached the buoy. Jessica waved her hands, shouted. The helicopter hovered above, lowered a rope, but the sharks surfaced. They had become aggressive due to the helicopter noise. The Coast Guard pilot shouted through the megaphone, "Ma'am, stay on the buoy. We're sending a boat." 20 minutes later, the Coast Guard boat arrived. There were 3 experienced rescue team members. They specialized in shark situations. "Ma'am, we're going to create a distraction," the team leader shouted. "When we say go, jump in and swim to the boat as fast as you can." Jessica nodded. This was her last chance. The Coast Guard team used special sound devices, underwater repellent to drive the sharks away. The sharks got disturbed, moved away from the buoy. "Go, go, go!" the team leader shouted. Jessica jumped into the water, swam toward the Coast Guard boat with her last strength. 10 meters, 5 meters, 3 meters. Coast Guard divers caught her, pulled her onto the boat. "You're safe now, ma'am," the paramedic said. Jessica was safe. Jessica was treated at Miami Beach Hospital. Severe dehydration, sunburn, and shock. But she was alive and safe. The doctor told her, "You were very lucky. 6 hours under the Florida sun without water. You could have died from dehydration." Jessica's story made local news. Woman survives shark attack, stranded on buoy for 6 hours. But what Jessica really learned was the power of survival instinct, thinking without panic, focusing on finding solutions, and never losing hope. The Coast Guard captain told her, "Your quick thinking saved your life. Climbing on that buoy, using the flare gun, staying calm. You did everything right." Jessica returned to New York the next day, but the Miami Beach experience had changed her. She was more grateful for life, understanding that every moment was precious. Jessica Williams, after the terrifying 6 hours she experienced at Miami Beach, understood how precious and fragile life is. In our daily routines, we can forget the power of nature and unexpected dangers. But Jessica's story shows us this. Proper preparation, calm thinking, and determination not to give up can save us from even the most difficult situations. Jessica now gives water safety courses and educates people about ocean safety, because she knows that being prepared saves lives. Now I ask you, have you ever faced such an extreme situation? Have you ever tested your survival skills? Share your dangerous moments in nature, at sea, in the mountains, in the comments. If this story touched you, don't forget to like and share, because stories of people like Jessica give us all valuable lessons about survival. And remember, nature is beautiful, but can also be dangerous. Always be prepared. Don't neglect safety precautions. In Jessica's words, life is very precious. Live every moment with gratitude. Warning: This video is a dramatized fictional narrative containing extreme survival situations and shark attacks. In real life, if you encounter such situations, seek professional help. Always follow ocean safety rules. This content is for educational purposes and does not encourage dangerous behavior.